So hello everyone and welcome to the third installment of the Blitzguessr series. So this time, as I promised in the last video, we are gonna do an easier map. This time it's gonna be Urbanguessr by Wolf Tracker. So let's see how that goes. As always, feel free to play along, but make sure that you stick to the rules. That is, that you play the round before you see it on screen, because otherwise you would be cheating. I'm gonna begin with the 10-second no move round, as I usually do. So good luck everyone and let's start. What does this look like? Is this Denmark? Yeah, this is Denmark probably. I'm gonna just hedge here in Vejle. And it was actually close to Copenhagen. I should have gone here, but last time I went here it was actually here, so I didn't risk it. But yeah, you had those brick buildings that you see in Denmark and in Skane, and the windows there looked like the Danish ones, as I explained in the Europe streak video. If you haven't watched that, please do. This should be Taiwan. We have some low cam, but at the same time it's those poles, they look Taiwanese and not Korean or Japanese, so it was more south. I should have gone there because there were some palms there, which makes sense to be more south. This is probably Dhaka. We have some Bengali and there's no car. And it's too dry to be in Chattogram. Yeah, it was a suburb of Dhaka, which makes sense here. This one is Korea. And it looks really bland, so I'm gonna go something like Daejeon. Hopefully it's not Seoul. It was Busan actually, which I didn't expect. Maybe some of those trees did feel weird, which makes sense for this area, but anyway, I couldn't get that there were no clues there. This one, what do we have? We seem to have some no plates, so probably it's somewhere here in the US. And yeah, it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I actually didn't know where I clicked. I just hedged in Arkansas. I was gonna go Little Rock, but obviously I didn't think about the exact place. But actually that's not a bad guess. I could have gone much worse, like somewhere like Nashville or Memphis, or maybe even Jackson, Mississippi. But this for Tulsa, Oklahoma, it felt a bit like Texas, but obviously it didn't have front plates, so it couldn't be Texas. But so this looked like a bit more west by the trees and also by how the architecture looked, so that's why I went over here. And it did pay off at the end. And what did we get? We got 22.6k. It's really impossible to break the 23k, it seems so for me, because I haven't done it for 3 editions in a row at the moment. But anyway, there were a couple of good guesses. I think the one that I should have improved is this one in Taiwan. I should have gone more south. And maybe this, but this I think is because I got baited last time and this time I got reverse baited, so this one I couldn't do much about it. This one was great, as was the Bangladesh one too. The Korean one was okay. So let's see how the NNPZ round goes. Okay, what do we have here? I think this is a tracker that can be found in Madagascar. I don't remember where it is. I think it's the capital. Yeah, now the capital is hidden. I don't know why it's hidden on the map by this small place there. But obviously I couldn't get there on time. But yeah, that tracker with that hairy site on the right was quite distinct, and that's what you can see in this area. You also see some French colonial architecture, and it's a bit different to what you see in mainland Africa. This is the UK, I think. I'm gonna go London itself because it's similar to what I've seen in real life. But okay, it wasn't. It was in Birmingham, but that was a generic suburban area. And I went for a suburban area. I would have gone Islington here or something if I could have zoomed in more. But yeah, it was in Birmingham, which also makes sense taking into account that it was a suburb. This is South Korea. It's extremely flat, so I'm gonna go somewhere in the west. I'm gonna go somewhere like that. Well, it was much more south. I didn't expect that. It was in Naju. Here with the yellow and black guardrails, I think we're in Botswana. I'm gonna just go Gaborone, but it could be anything over there. But yeah, if you see something really built up and wealthy like that, it should be in Gaborone. And this should be Brazil this time. I know it's not, it's Bolivia. I think it's Spanish there, so hopefully it did take my chance guess. And yeah, it was in Santa Cruz. No, it was actually in Warnes. I wasn't expecting to click there. I clicked in Santa Cruz. But I noticed that it was actually Spanish there, and there was some green on the plates, which makes sense for Bolivia, so that's why I went there. That's actually an insane guess without even wanting to guess here. But anyway, I finally broke 23k, which is kind of pleasing now. It was quite easy, if you know the clues, if you know for example the Madagascar tracker. In South Korea I could have done better if I just hedged down the middle here. But I don't think that I could have done better realistically here. Obviously if I hedged it would have been better, but that's real life bias from being in London for a long time, so I cannot do anything about it. And these two were quite great, the last two, getting the city in both of them, one of them intentionally, the other one not. So let's move on to the 5-second rounds, which should be a bit more difficult. Okay, this is somewhere in Jordan. I don't know where exactly. But yeah, that was actually a good guess. It was over 4.9k, which is great. I would have never got the town here. I could have went Kerak though. That could have been luckier, but I don't even know if I would have done that if I was no moving. This one is Bangladesh somewhere. I don't know where exactly. It was just Dhaka and that's it. I should have looked for the car, but I didn't. It somehow didn't look too much like Dhaka there. It looked more like southern, but I hedged a bit because I didn't know what I was gonna guess. And I actually went for the river, which is funny, but it's 4.9k anyway. What is this? This is Australia. I don't know where it is exactly. I just went New South Wales and that was quite good. That top level domain there saved me because otherwise I wouldn't have even gone Australia. But yeah, it was Goulburn, which is kind of good. Still 3.7k there. This looks like Argentina. Classic goes to Buenos Aires. It was even inside Buenos Aires, okay. I hedged between Rosario and Buenos Aires, that was good enough. And this one, it looks like Argentina again, but this time more towards the west. And yeah, it did look a bit more southern with those cypresses, I do know that. But obviously I didn't go there because I didn't want to lose too many points. So I did go quite southern in terms of like the western side of the country. This is considered more southern than northern. And sometimes you see some cypresses over here too. I should have stayed more west though, that's true. It was just Neuken. It wasn't even Neuken, it was Poitiers, but it's still the same metropolitan area, so that's good. I think my score was good actually for this type of round. Yeah, it was nearly 22k, and with the exception of last round, I'm quite happy. This one is a bit of luck because I don't know where in the country were we. The first one was an easy country. This one was kind of a hedge, and so that's an okay guess. And the Australia one, even though it wasn't extremely close, I'm still quite happy that I could click in New South Wales on time. So that's great. Let's see how the 5-second NMPZ round turns out to be. Okay, this is something in South Africa, I don't know where exactly. It did look a bit like Lesotho, so I went to the east of it, but it also looked red, that's why it's east and not west of it. But yeah, it was in Richards Bay by the coast, it also makes sense that there. This looks like Catarina, it said Catarina instead, so I was gonna go Santa Catarina, and I actually went Paraguay, which is funny. But still, I was gonna go Catarina, but I didn't have time. This is something that you see in Peru, I think. Yeah, that looked a bit like Lima with those hills in the background, so that's why I went here. This one should be Israel. I don't know where exactly. Yeah, Tel Aviv makes sense. The last guess didn't register for me. And this is somewhere in Indonesia, I think. Yeah, we have the Indonesian plate there. It looks quite generic, so Java is my guess here. But yeah, it was in Medan in Sumatra, which isn't the best. That guess isn't that great. So this one didn't go as great as the other ones. Here I should have guessed more on time. In Catarina, because I saw Catarinense there. Which makes sense, but I'm actually really impressed by this one in Lima. And also the South African one was good. This one didn't register on time, I would have gained like 200 points more. And here I don't think I could have done too much. It looked really generic Indonesia. So thank you all for watching and playing along. As this time we played an easier map, next time we are gonna try one of the traditionally challenging ones that you find in the world of GeoGuessr, and that is a rural world, my map. So let's see how that turns out. Subscribe, like, and see you next time. Bye.